Hello everybody, my name is Atlas and welcome on back to another video. TikTok got caught with their pants down and journalists managed to figure out that TikTok's user data was being accessed from China. Now I, for one, am not even remotely surprised by this. Even here in the land of freedom and AR-15s, the government is known to spy on people, and ever since the government passed a little thing called the Patriot Act, they have virtually unlimited power to do so. So, given that TikTok has a lot of ties to China and that the Chinese government is an authoritarian regime that has unchecked power over their citizens, am I surprised that China can access TikTok's user data? Not even in the slightest. The only thing that does surprise me is the group of journalists who dropped this bombshell of a story, and those journalists happen to be the ones at good old BuzzFeed. Yeah, you heard me correctly. The journalists known for making quizzes like, which chicken wing flavor matches your personality, were the ones who dropped this article. And surely enough, it looks like a pretty solid piece of journalism. But before we hop into it, if you enjoyed today's video, consider subscribing, and if you could drop a like, I would really appreciate that. But without further ado, let's jump into the rabbit hole. Now, over the course of TikTok's rise to power, TikTok has faced wave after wave of controversies. Good times. We had the Tide Pod Challenge, the Milk Crate Challenge, and one that is very near and dear to my heart, the Devious Lick Challenge.
Hey man, you already know who it is. Your boy Lil B. Hey man, it's that Hoop Life mixtape. This that pretty boy music. If you on the streets, man, you in the gutter, man, you got bitches, slap this. You feel me?
You really have to appreciate TikTok for what it is. A petri dish for insanity. But all jokes aside, one of the biggest controversies surrounding TikTok is all the unanswered questions about who exactly has access to its user data. Now, in 2021, a TikTok executive testified before the United States Senate, saying that, quote, a world-renowned US-based security team decides who can access the data. But clearly, that was a fucking lie, because the recordings obtained by BuzzFeed contain 14 different statements by TikTok employees, indicating that employees in China had access to user data. 9 of these statements describe situations where US employees had to turn to their Chinese colleagues because they didn't have permission to access the data on their own. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds quite a bit different than what that TikTok executive said. Anyway, the implications of this are essentially that because Chinese employees are the ones with permission to access the data, they could be and are most likely being forced to hand over this data to the Chinese government. I'll get into the implications for TikTok as a whole in a minute, but first, what are the implications for each individual user? Well, my honest answer to that question is, I don't know. I don't know what data the Chinese government accessed, how sensitive that data is, what the government will do with it, or even if they access the data at all. The best anyone can do is speculate. Now, the reason a lot of these meetings happened in the first place was because of pressure from US lawmakers. They wanted to ensure that US user data was not leaving the country and, of course, not ending up in the hands of the Chinese Communist Party. This pressure forced TikTok to commit to Project Texas, which is basically a project where TikTok is working to ensure all user data is stored at a secure location within the United States. The problem with this is that despite the data being in the US, it's still accessible from anywhere on Earth, including China. But hopefully, the company working with TikTok providing that physical storage space, which is Oracle, should be able to keep track of all that incoming traffic and, monitor it and whatnot. Now, one of the biggest reasons lawmakers are concerned is the raw power China could have to influence things like culture and politics in the US. Now, if you're on YouTube often, you might be familiar with the YouTube algorithm and how YouTube can manipulate it to change the content you are recommended. But unlike how YouTube's only incentive with its algorithm is trying to make more money, involving things like recommending more YouTube shorts and trying to keep you on the platform as long as possible, China is incentivized to spread things like propaganda, misinformation, and political division. At the end of the day, I think in today's day and age, data is power. The best way to protect yourself is to try and cut down on the amount of data you share. If you aren't using a platform that much, maybe you don't need an account for it. And when you click on a website link, maybe take a few extra seconds to select what cookies the website has access to. Really, a lot of this is just a game in choosing where you give up data, how trustworthy the sites you're giving the data to are, and what data we are willing to give up in order to use these services. I realize this kind of turned into a gloomy bit at the end. It's terrifying to see how much control these companies have over our lives. But I also think that it's something that can give us hope. The fact that people are waking up to this, gives me hope that we can do something about it, Alone, there's only so much we can do. But together, there's a lot of opportunity out there for us, Divided we beg, united we bargain. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, click that subscribe button and drop a like on this video. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll talk to you all later.